Hello everybody and welcome to this video. My name is Haley and today we're going to be talking about marginal, average, and marginal average functions. Okay, so a couple of notation notes before we get started. C of x represents the cost function, C prime of x represents the marginal cost function, C with a little bar on top of x represents the average cost function, and C bar prime of x represents the marginal average cost function. So more generally, the prime, the little apostrophe, represents the marginal function, and the bar on top represents the average, and both of them together represent the marginal average. Okay, the question is, how do you find the marginal function, or the average, or the marginal average? Let's take a look at an example to see. So let's say you're given the cost function c of x equals 150,000 plus 20x minus 0.0001x squared. You are then asked to find the marginal cost function. Luckily, if you're familiar with how to find a derivative, finding the marginal cost function is a similar process. If you want to find the marginal function, you just take the derivative of that function. If you're not very familiar with how to take derivatives, I would recommend checking out our video over derivative rules. But the derivative of this particular function is 20 minus 0.0002x, and that is our marginal cost function. What if the question was to find the average cost function? First, let's think about how we normally find the average of something. We just add everything up, then divide by however many things we added. Since we don't know how many things we will be dividing by, let's just say we produce X amount of things. Then the average cost function will be the cost function divided by x. So in general, the average cost function is c of x divided by x. In this case, the average cost function is 150,000 plus 20x minus 0.0001x squared over x, and that simplifies to 150,000 over x plus 20 minus 0.0001x. And that is our average cost function. What if we wanted to find the marginal average cost function? Since marginal indicates you should take the derivative and average indicates you should divide by x, marginal average indicates you should take the derivative of the average function. So we've already found the average cost function, which is 150,000 over x plus 20 minus 0.0001x. So we just need to take the derivative of that. And when we take the derivative, we end up getting negative 150,000 over x squared minus 0.0001. And that is our marginal average cost function. And it's a similar process if you're trying to do it for profit or for revenue or whatever. To summarize, marginal, you take the derivative of the original function. Average, you take the original function and divide by x. And marginal average, you take the derivative of the average function. Now, it's important that you take the derivative of the average function and not the average of the derivative, because those are different things. So, marginal average, you take the derivative of the average function. So let's take a look at some practice problems together. Find the marginal cost, average cost, and marginal average cost functions of the following cost function. Pause the video now if you'd like to do the problem on your own first. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find the marginal cost function. Remember, marginal means to take the derivative. The derivative of this cost function is 6x, therefore the marginal cost function is c prime of x equals 6x. Moving on to the average cost function, we take the original cost function, c of x, and we divide that by x. We get c bar of x equals 4,000 over x plus 3x squared over x, and that simplifies to 4,000 over x plus 3x. So our average cost function is c bar of x equals 4,000 over x plus 3x. So finally, let's find the marginal average cost function. To do that, we take the average function that we have already found and take the derivative of it. To find the derivative of 4,000 over x, it would be helpful to rewrite it as 4,000 x to the negative 1. Then we can use the power rule, which we should be familiar with if you remember derivatives. Therefore, the derivative of c bar of x equals 4,000 x to the negative 1 plus 3x is c bar prime of x equals negative 4,000 x to the negative 2 plus 3, and that is equal to negative 4,000 over x squared plus 3, which is our marginal average function. Okay, let's take a look at this practice problem. Find the marginal revenue, and marginal average revenue functions of the following revenue function. Pause the video now if you'd like to solve the problem on your own first. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find the marginal revenue function. Again, marginal means to take the derivative. The derivative of our revenue function is 4x plus 20. Therefore, the marginal revenue function is r prime of x equals 4x plus 20. Moving on to the average revenue function, we take the original revenue function, r of x, and we divide that by x. We get r bar of x is equal to 2x squared over x plus 20x over x minus 30 over x. And simplifying, we get 2x plus 20 minus 30 over x. So our average revenue function is r bar of x equals 2x plus 20 minus 30 over x. Finally, let's find the marginal average revenue function. To do that, we take the average function that we have already found and take the derivative of it. To find the derivative of 30 over x, let's rewrite it as 30x to the negative 1. Therefore, the derivative of r bar of x is going to be r bar prime of x equals 2 plus 30x to the negative 2, which is equal to 2 plus 30 over x squared when you simplify, and that's going to be our marginal average function. So I do have 2 additional practice problems that you can do on your own if you would like some more practice. The answers to these practice problems are in the transcript, which should be linked in the description of this video if you are interested in seeing that. Well, that is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in what else the Learning Center offers, please check our description for a link to our website, which has all of our services and descriptions and where to find all the stuff for that. But again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.